Hello and welcome again. So today in this presentation, we will be looking into the project management introduction and fundamental concepts. So what is project management? So it's an essential thing because it helps organizations to execute their strategies effectively by managing projects unique undertaking with specific goals and objectives and constraints. By understanding its principles, methodologies, required tools, and requirements of the basic requirements of a project manager, that is skill sets of a project manager, we can easily finish project within time, within budget, and with the desired quality. That is what we call a triple constraint of the project. So let's get deeper into each section and identify what are the requirements of a project, project management, and who we call a project manager. What are the skills? What are the tools? So let's get deeper. So before we go and enter the project management, first we need to understand what is the term project means. It is a very clear understanding that project is a temporary. A temporary means it has a very specific start and end date, and it's a temporary means with a specific object and goal in the mind, with a specific deliverables and unique deliverables. Unlike operations, which are ongoing and a repetitive process. For example, if a company produces a nut bolt, so all the year throughout it will produce that particular object without any change in the system. So it is an operation, it's not a project. So what is a project? It's a temporary endeavor which has a unique goal and budget with a very specific identified start and end date and very well defined objectives and deliverables. Deliverable comes with a success matrix that we will discuss further in this course. Say for an example, we look at the operations, but let's understand what can be an example of a project. So let's say we are delivering a construction of a residential building. So a construction of a residential building includes a series of coordinated activities with a very clear end point, that is an occupation certificate or a grand opening day. So that's what we call a project. So let's move to the next slide, which is a project management. It's a very misconception that project management is an organizational skill, but it is way beyond an organization skill. It involves industry-specific knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to achieve the project objectives and the goals. Before starting any project, it's very crucial to answer the very key questions. What are we solving? That is, first of all, we need to identify the problem statement of the project. Second, how are we going to achieve it? That is, what is the plan to achieve? Third, what are plan in terms of triple constraints of the project? That is time, budget, and resources. The fourth question is how we will measure the success. This is very important question and interesting as well, because if we know what are the major criteria or a measurable criteria of a success, then it is a very well defined scope. So it is very important to identify at the very beginning what is the success measure and what is the actual deliverable of the project, and finally at the end of during the closing phase we will learn what are the lessons we learned from this project. These questions will always help in understanding what are what is the requirement of the project, how we are going to deliver the project, and what we have learned from the project. Say for an example, we have to deliver a large scale infrastructure project like a bridge or an airport. So without effective project management, such endeavor could face delay, that is a time effect, cost overruns, that is a budget problem, and the quality issue, that is more often like related to the resources. This impact the overall success of the project. So that is why the project management is of highest importance when it comes to delivery or the success measure of the project. So now we understood what is the project, then we understood what is the project management and why it is important, and how we could start the project. And then let's move into the third section, that is what are the requirements of the project manager. So it's a very basic understanding that we also dealt this one in the previous slides. That is, successful manager poses a very diverse skill set. It's not just an organizational skills. It goes beyond the organization. So every project manager needs to have a technical understanding of the project domain. For example, if you are delivering a construction project, you should know what are the risks identified with the construction project, what are the different phases of the construction project, and what are the requirements of the project. Then comes the adeptness in the planning phase, that is planning and monitoring of the project. Then comes the problem solving and decision making process. As we all know, there is no such project which goes as per the planning. So there are always a different consequences comes with the different problems. So a project manager should always be responsible for solving such conflict and have a decision making power to solve the issues. Apart from this, it should possess the interpersonal skills to coordinate and manage the diverse teams and stakeholders together. Apart from this, there is one more important skill, which is a leadership skill, which is very, very, very important in project management. Do you know why? Because project manager always work with a different client and different team and different departments, different domains as well. So if you are a perfect leader, you bring all the teams together on a single table to achieve the required goal. It is once said that it is really very hard to work with the smart people. Do you know why? Because they have a very specific knowledge, and directing that specific knowledge and skill set is a very hard job. So, yeah, that's true. So, leadership skill is very, very important. Let's say, for an example, project management is overseeing the development of a new software application. So, beyond technical knowledge, the manager's ability to navigate the change requirements, resolve conflicts among the team member, and communicate effectively with the stakeholders can greatly influence the project success. So, that is why the leadership skill is a very, very, very important in project management. Let's move to the next section, which is the project management approaches. So till now we have went through what is project management, what are the requirements of the project management, and in the previous section we understood what are the skills of the project manager. Now after identifying a project manager for a project, we have to decide a strategy we adopt to deliver a project. So there are two approaches to the project management. First is a waterfall method, and the second one is the agile method. Waterfall method is a very traditional method and it works very well for the project which has a very clear defined goal, scope, and deliverables. It consists of 5 different phases: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, and finally the closing stage. For example, waterfall project could be a construction of a residential building. The project starts with a detailed planning where architectural design and engineering plans are finalized before we enter into the procurement phase of the general contractor, which will then begin the construction process, which is the third phase of the 5 phases, that is an execution. This sequential approach ensures that each phase completed before moving on to the next phase. This minimizes the risk and ensuring compliance with the building code. That is why we say waterfall approach is a really good example when we know what is to be delivered and what are the goals and scope of the work. Apart from this, waterfall is also useful when you have completed a similar kind of scope of work in similar projects. For example, a construction of a residential building. So residential building, a project manager could have done a multiple residential building, but if the scope is the same as the size and the functionality, then waterfall method approach is the best suitable method. Moving towards the second method, that is an agile method. This method is very complex because it deals with a with so this method deals when the goals and deliverables are less defined and flexible in nature. It involves iterative cycles or called sprints where a team continuously refine and deliver solutions based on the client's requirement and feedback. The life cycle includes the phases. It has similar 5 phases just as waterfall method, just a difference of the terminologies, which is first is the envisioning, speculation, exploration, adaptability, and the closure. This emphasizes adaptability and continuous improvement. Say for an example, there is one software development company who is working on a development of an application. Based on a continuous feedback from the client, all the time the final deliverable is not as planned during the initiation phase of the project because of the change in the technology advancement and the user requirement. So here the goal or objective and the deliverable is not very well defined, and because of that all the project managers adopt agile project management approach to solve this issue, which continuously gather the feedback from the client and deliver and send it back to the project manager to revise the plan and ensure the final product meets the user requirement. Next, we will move towards the organizational structure. So basically there are 3 organizational structure: functional hierarchical structure, matrix organization structure, and projectized structure. The organization structures are significantly influence how the project are managed. The classic functional metrics and projectized, they all offers a unique dynamic in terms of decision making authority and team alignments as well. Understanding the structure will always a helpful decision for project managers to navigate the complexity and optimize the team performance. A hierarchical organization structure is a traditional model where employees are grouped and managed based on their functional department and report to a single supervisor within their department. The chain of command flows from a top level management to down level management, which establishes a very clear line of authority. It is very well suited for the routine operations and a stable environment where tasks are very standardized and repetitive in process. Moving towards the metrics organization, which combines the element of functional and projectized structure. It's a mediocre project project organization structure where project manager have a limited authority for decision making based on their expertise or department, and project manager based on the project they are currently working on. This dual reporting system aims to leverage functional expertise while facilitating project specific coordination and flexibility. It is suitable for organizations with multiple projects concurrently requiring specialized skill and quick adaptation to the project need. Moving towards the projectized organization structure, which is highly used and highly expertized due to its well organized structure. The term itself is very well subjective. That is, it clearly explains the projectized means that our organization structure are changed based on the requirement of the project. In this structure, the project manager have a significant authority and decision-making power, and resources are dedicated full time to the project. Once the project is completed, team members moved on the other project or functional role. It is well suited for a dynamic environment where the project requirements change frequently. Moving towards the requirement of the project management tools and softwares. So as we move from the very beginning, that is understanding the initiation phase, planning phase, control and monitoring phase. So all of this requires a basic documentation and scheduling works and monitoring work to check the status of the project. All of that requires a different software in different phases of the project lifecycle. For example, in the initiation phase of the project, a reporting and analysis tool are very much important. For example, in the initiation phase, all the documents are created, requirements are gathered, and it is delivered, and approval is taken from the client to make sure that there is no change after the project plan is made. So that to deliver the project requirement, goals, settings, objectives, we generally project manager use a Word document and Excel spreadsheet to analyze the different financial requirements and create a budget log. On the contrary, on the other side, we also use, as a project manager, you are also responsible to use a collaboration tool which helps in collaboration of the different departments. Since project does not directly include only one stakeholder, there are multiple stakeholders in the project. Apart from this, in the planning phase, with project manager also create a scheduling There are different scheduling softwares available in the market, but depending on the requirement and the project management approach you utilize, different softwares can be used. For example, a Microsoft project and Primavera, Oracle Primavera P6 are very famous for the waterfall approach. While it also deliver an agile method, but waterfall is the best approach can use. On the contrary side, the Jira is a very much useful in the agile environment. And finally, for the coordination and the communication phase, we use a presentations tool such as a Microsoft PowerPoint, which helps in delivering and communicating the success of the project with the client. So this is all we got for this introduction section of the project management. To wrap up, a project management is a pivotal in ensuring a successful project outcome across different organization contexts. By understanding methodologies like waterfall, agile, we can leverage appropriate tool and honing the essential skills. Project managers can effectively navigate challenges and drive project to success. Ultimately, whether you are building a skyscraper, launch a new product, or implementing organizational change, effective project management ensure that goals are met efficiently and stakeholders are satisfied. It's all about balancing constraints, seizing opportunity, and delivering value to stakeholders. Thank you so much for your time and patience. Thank you.